Robert Zinni here for 5 Senses. Today's guest is no other than Dana Murdock, the owner of Butte Distillery. She is going to be talking about her Sweet Sweet Whiskey, the TBD show, and some changes that are happening at the distillery. We are here with Dana Murdock from Butte Distillery. How you doing, Dana?
I'm fine, Zinni. How are you?
Doing pretty good. You know, it's the winter time, so we're just nestling into things.
Right.
So what's going on with Butte Distillery?
Well, we're going to make some changes this year.
Yeah, like what kind of changes?
Well, our whiskeys have become very popular. So we're going to really focus on them this year and back off a little bit on vodka and gin. Maybe make that a seasonal thing, but really focus on our special whiskeys.
Okay, so which kind of special whiskeys? Because if anybody hasn't had Butte Distillery whiskey, it's that sweet, sweet whiskey that I just yearn for.
Well, the one that people really responded well to was a smoked bourbon that uses Arizona pecan smoke. Really? So it's just a little bit smoky, but it has the sweetness of bourbon too, and it's fairly high proof, about 104 proof. But it's soft. It's not doesn't set you on fire.
That's good.
Yeah, that is good. It is good. So that's been the most popular one. So we're going to start putting that into regular production. We're also going to do some cask strength whiskeys, which are about 115, 16 proof. There's a real demand for those higher proof whiskeys.
So what is a cast whiskey?
That is like a barrel, like a wooden barrel or sometimes a stainless steel barrel where whiskeys are aged. And they go into a barrel at around 120, 122 proof. And as they age, there's an evaporative thing, and that's called the angel's share.
Okay.
Where it just disappears into the nether.
Oh, so it's like when your body dies and your soul goes up, right?
It's exactly like, just part of the soul, though. Not the whole soul of the whiskey, but about maybe 5 proof points.
I guess not too bad.
Yeah. So the bulk of the soul is left.
Nice. And so where's this demand coming from? Because I know you're an award-winning distillery.
Well, the demand is coming from our distributor and primarily locally from the new Total Wine store. They want to carry these higher proof products.
Okay. So is that going to be your specialty whiskey? Is that going to be like the Crown King whiskey where it's like
that
$75?
One too, yes. The Crown King single malt will be included in that. Okay. And we'll have a new batch of that releasing in April. And we're buying our malted barley from Sinagua Malters in the Verde Valley.
Oh, nice.
It's being grown by the Apache tribe over there on riparian riverlands and actually malted right in Camp Verde.
All right, so
it will be local.
And you can probably taste some of the Verde River.
You can taste the river. That's right.
That should be your slogan. Taste
the river flows through it.
Nice. So where do you come up with these concoctions? Because I don't have no idea what being a distiller is. So how do you come up with these different variations of whiskey?
Well, usually what determines the primary taste of a whiskey is what grain it's made out of. Like bourbon is primarily corn. Rye is rye, which is a grain that makes rye bread. And single malt or Scotch or American single malt is 100% barley. So that's the primary distinction. Then in the aging process, you can introduce other things by the wood that it's aged on, if it's been used for sherry or port or other dessert wines. Usually for single malts, you'll use port or sherry, but there's a lot of experimentation going on now around the world with different kinds of woods and different kinds of wines for finishing whiskeys. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I had no idea about the wine part. So does that give it a distinct flavor, or is it just the mixture between the wood and the sherry?
The wood and the wine gives it a very distinct flavor, very identifiable.
Okay.
So
Nice.
it is interesting to play around with that stuff. We've had some barrels of dessert wine from Caduceus Vineyards up in the Jerome area, and we've used those to age whiskey, and you get some interesting results. So
Nice.
that part of it's really fun.
I bet. And, I've had most of your whiskey, so I'm really excited
I
to
think
try.
you have.
I like the Rodeo Rye. That's definitely one of my favorites.
Right.
The Plagued aged whiskey that you gave me a couple months ago.
Yes.
I finished that on New Year's. I gotta say, it was worth the wait.
Oh, good. Worth the plague.
It was worth the plague, yes. So, did you just have leftover whiskey before COVID happened and then just allowed it to age? Nice, that's a good idea.
Through COVID, through all the stress and turmoil of COVID, we let it age through there.
Nice. Well, it was good to have that.
Yeah.
So with the whiskey, are you going to enter it into any contests?
We are. We're going to enter it into hopefully 4 or 5 competitions this year, starting with the American Distilling Institute's competition, which is sort of, I feel like that's the most significant because it is only craft distilleries.
So
none of the big, huge distilleries. So smaller craft distilleries from all over the world, from Southeast Asia to Japan to Croatia, Russia, Scandinavia, all over.
Why is Russians making whiskey when all of Russians that I've ever known force you to drink vodka but do not want to drink anything else?
Maybe they don't want to share their whiskey with you.
Maybe.
They're making you drink vodka. I don't know.
Never trusted Russian.
Yeah.
From
Apparently.
personal experience.
Yeah. Did you see where the Irish fishermen got the Russian Navy to back off on their live ordnance tests?
No, when was that?
Yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pretty exciting.
What, he was just casting his pole and he's like, no, you can't. I got my fishing.
The organization.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, Irish fishermen.
Not Irish
No,
fishermen.
60 boats.
Wow. There's
Challenged the Russian Navy because they were going to have live testing in their fishing grounds, and they backed off.
Good.
Yeah.
Good that Ireland.
Maybe they should go to Ukraine.
Maybe.
Those fishermen.
Yeah, not our troops, right? All right, we're getting a little bit too political here, Dana. We want to get drunk. I haven't even had any whiskey and we're talking about this.
Yeah. So this season, we'll be doing some new TBD shows, huh?
Yeah. Well, we're finishing the last season, so by the time this airs, it will be in our second part of the sci-fi.
Yeah.
So even though I'm the host of both shows, what's your perspective about being a part of it and allowing us to have free reign on the distillery?
Well, it's grown since we started,
yes.
And the reign is a lot looser, I think. It's been fun. It's been fun being a part of the action and the acting. And, you guys have put me in horrible makeup and made me look like a mean person sometimes. But, I guess that's what it takes to be an actor.
Well, you are the star of the show, if anybody didn't know. And, the whole point of your character is kind of being that boss in a way.
Right.
Like I was watching some of the behind the scenes that I was taking, and it's you and Jim at the bar, and you're like, this is my distillery, my show, and I'll get you a glass of shut the hell up.
That's right. That critic just pushes my buttons.
He does. Sometimes I don't even know if he's actually acting or if he's just critiquing.
I've wondered that many times. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think he needs a little more sweet whiskey.
I think so, instead of the Cowboy coffee, because I
that
think
just jacks him up.
Just jacks him up. And I was talking to Eric, the bartender, over the weekend, because we all did shots of Cowboy coffee, the vodka, when we were watching episode 4. And he's like, yeah, the first batch was super strong. I wondered that because we had Jim take his sweet time drinking the Cowboy coffee vodka, and it was strong.
Yeah,
it was super strong.
Yeah,
but I liked it. I always watched.
I liked it too.
I always poured a little bit in my coffee when I watched the Bills game during the pandemic.
Yeah,
every Sunday.
Yeah, too bad about the Bills. and the 49ers.
I know, but hey, the best thing was they gave up the lead with 13 seconds left in regulation, lost to overtime. Yesterday, which today is January 31st, the Chiefs lost to the Bengals, and in overtime, it took Patrick Mahomes 13 seconds to throw an interception to lose the game. So I don't know if that's karma or whatever, but like I definitely think that's kind of ironic that, but it's all good. But we're here to talk about your delicious spirits, if you will.
That's right.
So I guess my question is, because we'll go back to the TBD show in a second, how did you develop the Cowboy coffee? Because for a while I thought it was whiskey, and then you told me it was vodka, and I felt like an idiot.
That's okay. I had a couple different coffee liqueurs, and they were usually too sweet for me. I don't like really sweet things. So we just we did experiment with some whiskey. So you may have had an early, edition of Cowboy coffee that was made with either rye or bourbon, because we did try that.
Yeah, I think that's where I got mixed up, because I always thought it was whiskey up until we filmed Jim Scene drinking it straight out of the bottle.
Right. And then we tried it with vodka, and it seemed to be a little cleaner and a lot more of the coffee flavor came through. So, and then we got a particular grind and roast for it. And I think it's probably as good as we've made it this last batch.
Yeah, it was much smoother than the last one.
Yes, it is. Much smoother.
So going back to the TBD show, what's your favorite part? Because you are like the owner. You play yourself in the show.
Right, I do.
And then we put you through a lot of different parodies in the second season. So what's been some of your favorite parts?
Well, I enjoyed the filming we've done at the Armory, and the escaping from the Zeebeldorfs.
Yes, our sci-fi Gremlins Star Wars parody.
That's right.
Nice.
Yeah, that was probably fun, the most fun.
I bet. Have you ever had prior acting experience before?
No, hard to believe, isn't it?
You're a one-hit wonder, by the way. Every time she takes a take, it's one and done, where I'm fumbling my lines sometimes and whatnot, so you're a natural.
Yeah, natural, yeah. No, I've never done any acting.
All right.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Dana act, you should definitely come see the TBD show, because
maybe my next career will be acting.
Hey, you never know what'll happen. Maybe we'll all go to the moon and back.
You never know. We could. It's been done, I think.
Going to the moon
and back.
Well, I thought that was Stanley Kubrick in a studio.
I heard that.
Right.
I don't know though. I've actually held rocks from the moon in my hand.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Did somebody come to your school back in the day? And
no, I was in college. I was working in a planetarium, and the planetarium got a shipment of moon rocks, and we got to look at them. They just look like ordinary rocks, but definitely from the moon. Or Stanley Kubrick could have sent them. You never know.
You never know. And just to let you know, this isn't a conspiracy theory show. We are not going to have any disinformation, so just bear with us. Seeing the moon rocks reminds me of when I took some students to ASU, because we do a whole climate change expedition. And it's been about 4 years since we interacted with the scientists that actually go to Antarctica and do the research. So this one scientist just brings this vial up, and she goes, "If anybody wants to sniff penguin poop, I got penguin poop." And none of the kids would do it.
People lined up.
I did.
Yeah.
And it smelled like nothing. I go, I hope I don't get some plague from back in the day, since it was iced over,
Right. Yeah.
And funny thing about climate change, if it's real, climate change, you had plague aged whiskey, right? I always considered, when all the ice melts, are we going to get more of these variants out there? Are we going to have other plagues from dead carcasses or whatever out in the atmosphere?
Well, there's a lot of talk about that. There's even TV shows that delve into that.
Like what? Like Ghostbusters?
Fortitude.
Oh, what's Fortitude?
It's a show I saw. It takes place in northern Norway.
Okay.
And it's sort of science fiction.
Is that the one that they watch birds? Because I think the last time you were on the show.
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, this one has Stanley Tucci.
Okay.
It's very good.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
The last time you were on my show, we played cribbage and you won.
That's right. I don't think we've played since then.
No, but I would love a
We
rematch.
need to have a rematch.
I think we have 5 Senses sponsor the rematch.
We could.
Pay, what, 5?
Or we could have like a county-wide competition.
Why not? Like, what, $10 a head and
Yeah.
winner take all?
And a timer. You know, like
chess.
for chess. Bam, bam.
You know, I don't get it. Sometimes with cribbage, people take so long to get their cards out. And it's supposed to be a fast-paced game. You're supposed to get the people off their game too. So
yeah, just keep up the pressure. Yeah, maybe we should organize that, and then give them sweet whiskey while they're playing.
Exactly. Then
You
we
know,
can.
or some of that original Cowboy coffee.
Why not? Right?
Yeah.
Put hair on your chest. Right?
Yeah.
So you mentioned some big changes that you're going more with the whiskey. Is there any other big changes that are happening?
Well, probably some big changes this year, but I'm not at liberty to reveal them all now.
Okay. You're on a gag order from your lawyers or something?
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm sure we're excited to see what Butte Distillery is going to turn into or enhance it.
Exactly. Me too.
Okay. Now,
I'm excited.
Now, do you still have live music at the distillery?
We have live music, and we have open mic on Sunday afternoons, which has been kind of fun lately.
Yeah, you get some good personalities at the Whiskey Jam, right?
Oh, yeah, we do.
I even heard that you sang a number.
I did. I sang The Wait.
The band.
Yeah, the band.
You ever seen The Last Waltz?
Of course.
Were you at The Last Waltz is the question,
I wasn't at
Dana.
the last waltz. And I wasn't at the last minuet either.
Nice. I love the band.
Yeah, me too.
So what kind of if people haven't gone to the Whiskey Jam, it's a really good Sunday afternoon because you get a lot of these people who have had other careers and then they come and they have a good time. So
and what I like best about the Whiskey Jam is when they really jam, when you get about 8 different performers up there on the stage. You've got guitars, you've got percussion, sometimes keyboards. You know, it just makes it so much more fun for people as opposed to just one solo performer after another. And it also, when people have stage fright about performing, which is an important function of open mics, is that people get to try out songs and try out their performance chops. You know, it gives them courage. It's helpful to have some backup, to have a bass player or to have a drummer or to have someone playing rhythm guitar with you. It makes people more comfortable on stage. And I think that is really a benefit of open mics.
Yeah. And at least with your open mic, it's very inclusive. And I've never seen anybody go off the rails. Everybody's been very supportive, even if it's somebody new coming up on stage.
Pretty much. Yeah. There's always little undercurrents, but nothing is really.
That's for the artists to
That's right.
deal with.
They're all artists, you know.
Now, do you think on a Whiskey Jam I can go up and scream in the mic and sing some of my punk songs I have?
I would think so.
All right. Yeah.
Do you need any accompaniment?
If you want, I can show you the songs and then we can just.
Or do you just need someone pounding on an old garbage can or something?
Banging on a trash can would be good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Then what is it? Give you some spoon action.
Oh, spoon action, yeah.
And then the jug.
Oh yeah.
The jug of whiskey.
Yeah.
That way you can.
I think we've got one of those bucket bases upstairs too. You know, with the old metal bucket and that 3-string bass.
What?
That would be good. Yeah, we got one of those.
Why aren't we bringing that out for the TBD show when we go live?
I don't know. I'll have to get it.
Please
down.
do, because we can have somebody on stage faking it.
Yeah.
And then probably play some other song on there.
We could.
Okay. So coming back full circle, Dana, I'm really thirsty for some whiskey. You mentioned some of the new whiskeys coming out. When is that coming out? So I can go down to the Butte Distillery and get drunk.
Well, you can come anytime and have bourbon or rye.
Of course. That's the staple.
That's right. But the new single malt will be out in April, and the high proof specialty whiskeys like the smoked bourbon and the cask strength will follow this spring. So this spring we will be bottling several new whiskeys. for your enjoyment.
That'd be great. Maybe we should have our own whiskey competition at Thumpy Distillery. You know,
Maybe we should.
buy a couple high end, even some crappy whiskey.
We could do that and do a blind tasting.
Right. So we invite blind people to come in.
Exactly.
And,
That's
not
how it
blindfold
works.
them. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, this kind of crossed my mind earlier. So when you put your whiskeys into competitions, what's the process? Do you go there? Do the judges? Is it kind of like the snooty wine tasting where it's like Fraser Crane and we're gonna spit out the wine?
The way most of them work is you send in usually 2 or 3 bottles,
Okay.
and then whoever's running the competition breaks them out into little sample packages, and they have numbers only, no labels. And so different judges taste different things.
Okay.
Like there's always different categories. There's a category for rye, there's a category for bourbon, there's a category for American single malt, there's a category for flavored gins, there's a category for, terroir gins, Western gins, different vodkas. And so they have different judges for each category. Supposedly people who are knowledgeable in those specific areas. And they grade. They have different criteria for grading, and you usually get tasting notes back from the judges after competition. So that's interesting. It gives you a little critique, ideas for changing things in your distilling or your aging processes. So
Nice.
There's a lot to learn.
I bet. And just walking into Thumpy Distillery, if you haven't seen it, there's this little crappy painting of the TBD show. We know that. But if you look at their cases, it's like medal after medal after plaque after plaque.
Right. In the competitions we've entered, I think we've won over 27 medals now. So this year we'll be breaking the 30 mark.
Ooh, the 30 mark.
Yeah,
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Dana, we are out of time for this episode, but I really appreciate your time. And again, on behalf of the whole TBD crew, thank you for the TBD show. It's been really fun.
It has been fun.
And just think, the TBD show actually came from our first interview when
That's right.
I lost cribbage, and then no one will see it, but I ran around the distillery naked because she skunked me. Not only skunked, double skunked.
That's right. Yeah. I haven't double skunked anyone since then.
I know.
We'll have to have a rematch.
We'll have a rematch.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice to see you, Robert.
Nice to see you too. Thanks for watching this episode of 5 Senses. I hope that you can take some time to go down to Thumpy Distillery and taste all their spirits. And our next guest will be Sky Daddy, and he will be doing Sky Daddy Elvis Grams for Valentine's Day. The link will be in our description below, but also you can go to skydaddy.net to reserve your Elvis Gram.